It's interesting, right? Because I say the same thing about my wife. And it's just a joke, right? I'm just talking shit.
Yeah.
But it's one of these interesting things. My wife, for example, is an owner at this gym. She's been training with me full-time for about 4 years. Maybe a bit more. And she's getting to the point now, 6-7 days a week for 4 years, nonstop. She's always training. So she's getting to the point where she's getting some skill. And like when I spar with her, if we're doing Muay Thai or even grappling, she's getting to the point now where I have to push her a little bit. Because before, it's just play, right?
Plateau,
just play, and there was such a level difference that everything was teaching her. Yeah. But I was telling you earlier, now she's getting to the point where she's getting enough skills where I have to up the intent. You slowly up the intensity. Otherwise, you're not going to build the skill that's necessary as people start to go up higher level. So a lot of my training with her gets more physical. Yeah. And when some people watch it, they're like, dude, what are you doing? You're beating up your wife. And I'm like, no, it's very controlled. It's very specific.
So personal.
Yes.
Yeah, it's because it's like the most personal relationship you can have.
This is where the dynamics get weird, right? Because it's one of the fascinating things about my job. But we have bad days. We have bad days where we train. And we have bad days where we train and we're sparring with each other. And you have to be able to kick and punch each other. And my wife, God bless her, she's. I'll get her on the podcast one of these days. She is the type of person who's emotional like everyone else. And listen, if you have a bad day and you're in training and you're sick of getting hit and then you get kicked one time and then she'll all of a sudden she's throwing hard shots because she's mad. And this is more husband beating than wife beating. That I'm just like weathering like, oh God, what's going on? As I'm like touching her, she's swinging like full power on me and stuff. And there's this weird dynamic that develops. And one of the most fascinating things, and it's also true with the kids, because you're building them up from small, and you're trying to slowly push them.
Prepare them as well.
But you have to push them. You have to make them uncomfortable because it's martial arts. You're learning how to punch and kick and grapple and choke and armbar. And even the kids that come in for jiu-jitsu, when you're learning how to do a rear naked choke on somebody, it's interesting to explore the dynamic of how in martial arts we're teaching you to not be violent at the same time that we're teaching you how to apply violence. And there's this
Controlled
interesting,
violence.
And it does in fact work because I can tell you right up, I've been studying martial arts for 15 years. I've never been in a street fight my entire life, never once. I've never gotten to the point where I've been in an altercation and wanted to hurt somebody. I know what it feels like. I've been doing this for so long. That situation is so unappealing to me because I've been exposed to it so much. And martial arts has that effect. Once you learn the control, it changes how you view violence.
You fear less in terms of like how you're going to react. It takes that big question mark away. So people don't freak out and like
that's the self-confidence that will come with it. That's the first part. But then after the self-confidence comes,
like I could beat this dude's ass or whatever.
No, but the self-confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
But then that's step one, right? Is it builds that self-confidence, which is why it's great for kids. But then step two of that, this is the harder step, which is when you have that ability when shit does get weird and you're at a bar and some dude starts talking shit. You have to have self-confidence in that situation, but not have the ego to the point where you'll get sucked into that conflict. And when you know you can beat somebody up, this is a thing. Like when I was in Canada, a lot of the guys there, I trained at Adrenaline Training Center. It's a huge gym in Canada. I spent 2 years training there. Mark Hominick, Sam Stout was there. Chris Hordesky was there. Chris Clements, they fought in the UFC. It was big. I was there when Hominick fought Jose Aldo for the title. And those dudes like to fight. A lot of them were in their 20s, mid-20s, and they would go to bars and pick fights because they would fuck people up. And they liked that. They sort of played into that dynamic, and they would go out and look for trouble sometimes.
To that same point, you're going to jail. Straight up.
Well, this is a difference of the dynamic, but it also gets me to the point of when you train, it builds confidence to a point. But then at a point after that, you have to learn to walk softly and carry a big stick. That's the goal of martial arts, right? You want to be the guy that never needs to use it, but if it goes down, you can handle it. But you will withdraw from those situations any other time unless violence is enforced upon you.
It's like in any movie, like during fight scenes, and then there's one quiet, small guy. Everyone's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, you want to be that guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy that the ladies want. That's the guy that's cool, right? The guy that's sitting in the...
Fair.
It's not the 20-year-old bro who's like, you want to fight? You want to fight? Come at me, bro. Come at... Don't be that guy.
Yeah, right.
Okay, just don't be that guy. Be the quiet guy looking menacing in the corner who's just cracking his knuckles when the violence goes. You're not going to jump in, but you're
not
just...
even look menacing. Just like nonplussed.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
even scary and menacing.
Yes, that's way scarier.
You know?
You just sit there and observe, totally detached from the violence going on around you. But this is
so movie script.
Yeah, so that's the next goal when you start the training is you have to learn when those situations come to you, which they will. Someone's going to have a bad day and call you an asshole. Someone's going to run into you in a train. You're going to get in a car accident. You're going to, whatever that thing where you have that one day every couple years where you're all of a sudden in a situation that's escalating and you haven't been in that for a while and you don't know how to react. Not reacting in a big way there is the goal.
I mean, on the mats you are fighting to not die, right? You don't want to get choked out. You don't want to get your limbs broken, you know. So you're reaching these adrenaline peaks in a rolling session. Well, I mean, depends on the style of rolling. You could be having like a slow roll or just like.
Depends on who you're rolling with too.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally.
If it's a competitive roll, you'll get it.
Well, yeah. But so once you have these peaks established, that totally resets the graph of your adrenaline.
Yeah.
Right. So then those day-to-day things don't bother you as much because the adrenaline spike is so little, or like any of that reaction that you get it just doesn't register. Versus if you had never done any of these things that pushed you, if you have this absolute flat baseline, and then anything triggers you, you're gonna go off the charts, blah 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 blah. You know, because you just don't have that. You don't know where the top of the scale is.
Yeah.
You don't know
you have no point of reference.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's so important. I want to train I'm having a daughter, like Luke said. I want to train her to be an absolute feral killer. You know, I do.
But to not show it.
No.
Walk softly, carry a big stick.
Yeah.
That should be the goal for any person, right? Is to have the tools to do what you need to, but